You're welcome back to Hype and Daybreak, and now it's the personal finance segment with Charles Fakoha, where we'll be talking about how to avoid lifestyle inflation. Good morning, Charles, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Margaret.
I like the tone of the good morning. It shows it's really a good morning.
It's
Yeah,
really
you're
good morning.
particularly happy this morning.
Yes, very, very happy.
Yeah, I can
this
see
morning.
that. I can see that.
Samson, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm happy I still have a mother who is alive.
Yeah, interesting. Happy birthday to your mother. As a matter
Thank
of
you
fact,
so
she's
much.
75 years old.
75
today.
years.
So, Mommy, we love you. Thank you for
Yes.
giving us Mr. Charles Fakoha that is teaching us how to save, you know. That's something I'm appreciating what he's doing for
That's
us.
great. I mean, our parents are unique beings. But they went through a whole lot, you know, to bring us up, and they made huge sacrifices that we can't pay back.
Yeah.
It's not in monetary value. It's about the time. It's about the effort, and the best we can do is just appreciate them while they're here. So, I would say you're lucky that she's
Yes.
still
Yeah,
around.
you're
and
blessed too.
You're blessed
That's
as
true.
well. So,
Thank you.
congrats to her.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, I'll convey the message.
Oh, yeah.
So it's happening live in Yenegua.
No problem.
Yeah, by her side.
Yeah,
Persian guest house.
Yeah, there
Oh,
somehow.
okay.
Well, I'm sure our goodies will come to us.
Of course, no problem.
All right, talk to us about lifestyle inflation. Inflation in every sector currently in Nigeria. We still have lifestyle inflation. So, how can you differentiate between the normal inflation and lifestyle inflation?
Yes, you see, they give birth to us, we go to school, we finish secondary school, university, we get a job, you know, and we think life is just like that. You know, inflation, yes, when the price of food items or item generally is going up, that is what they call demand cost inflation. You also have costs push inflation, where the cost of things has gone up, like we have now, diesel price has gone up, so manufacturers and media houses that use diesel to do their operations, it's also difficult for them to continue. So that is it. But when you talk of lifestyle inflation, let's take a typical graduate, for example, now. He leaves school, he gets a job, he stays maybe in a one-room apartment, you know, and he's enjoying his life. But as soon as he's promoted, he will say, that self-contained is too small for him. But if you look at it, he doesn't really need a bigger accommodation, because that accommodation serves him right. But because he has more money now, there's a tendency for him to say he wants to spend, and he will go and get a bigger accommodation. Now you can see that as his earning increases, likewise his expenses is also increasing. So at the end of the day, you discover that he will not be able to save money to do investment to create wealth. So you can be earning more, your salary can be increased, your earnings can increase, but it will take you back to a more difficult situation, and that is simply lifestyle inflation.
Okay.
Yes. So now, how do you recognize it? It's very difficult to recognize it. Very difficult, because it could just creep in. You work in an organization, and all the people there, they live in a certain area, and you too, you are in that same category with them. You say, no, this first time I'm leaving, I don't want to stay there again. You can afford to stay in Lekki. And you move to Lekki. Your expenses increases because you feel you have the money. But there are times where this lifetime inflation is unavoidable. You now have a family. A one-room apartment might not be too convenient for you. Yes, we need to understand that. Then you can spend. That is okay. But you now live in a neighborhood. You see that I read all of them in this neighborhood. They drive a Land Cruiser. The roads are not even good. Why should I continue to drive my Toyota Corolla? Because you now have the money. You buy a Land Cruiser. You can see that you will not have enough money to save and invest. That is lifestyle inflation. But you can recognize it.
Okay.
You can know. How do you? Each time you are given a raise, just make up your mind. You already have a budget. Follow that your budget. That car that you are saying you are going to buy, meanwhile the car that you had before takes you from point A to point B, and the car is doing very well.
And still in a good condition.
In good condition. But because you now have more money, you want to keep up with the Joneses, you will continue to spend. The restaurants that you don't visit before, maybe you don't have enough money. Now, because you have money now, you visit that restaurant. So these are some of the things you need to look at. But first of all, you need to differentiate between your wants and your
Your
needs.
Okay.
Wants and needs.
Wants and
Okay.
needs. Wants is just something that you don't really need it, you can do without it. Yes, okay, we have that on the screen.
Okay.
You know, increasing your spending as your income goes up. It's a normal thing. As your income is going up, your expenses is also going up. So it is you to be conscious about it. I said, no, this increase I'm getting, have a plan for it to be invested. Save it and invest it. But like I said, there are some lifestyle inflation you cannot avoid. Yes. You have a new baby in your house. You need to buy things for that baby. Your accommodation that can accommodate 2 people, you need a bigger place. That is your needs. But we confuse our needs with wants.
Okay.
You have 4 pairs of shoes because you have more money now. Say no. These ones are. I need the latest tuxedo. You go and get it. Before 6 months, you're no longer putting it on. But that money, if you have saved and invested it, it will yield more for you compared to that prestige that the wearing that shoe has given to you. So these are just lifestyle inflation.
Okay. Talking about these habits, I mean, sometimes, you know, as the saying goes, human wants are insatiable. You get lost in it.
Yes.
Where's the place of budgeting in all of this? I'm talking about, you know, the wants now, not the needs. You know, as you've said, you have a larger family, you want to move out and all of that. But in the process of keeping up with the Joneses, how do you curb those excesses? You know, be mindful of them and curb it, because sometimes you probably, for example, eat, you know, maybe rice. You decide to eat, you know, Chinese rice or whatever.
Yes.
The change comes in with, you know, the position. So how can that be addressed, really?
Yes, you have said it's keeping up with the Joneses. You don't even know whether those Joneses are living on debt. You don't know. They just live a high life. Like I said, living high and being wealthy are 2 different things.
Okay.
People who live on debt, you don't know. So it is not your place to please them. You know where you are going. So you don't need to please people because of you want to go to the same restaurant that they go. You want to send your child to the same private school they have, you know. So if you already have a budget, you budget for it. You budget for it. When increases come, because the most important thing there is when increase come to your salary, that is when you begin to see things you were neglecting before. You say, okay, I'm not taking ice cream before. Meanwhile, when you don't have that increase, you're not thinking of ice cream. But because the money has come to your pocket, you're thinking of ice cream. So with a proper budget, you just decide that any increase I have, let 75% goes to my retirement savings account. Then the remaining 25%, you can use it to do other things. And if you follow that, you'll be able to avoid keeping up with the Joneses when you have an increase in your income. Yes, you just have to stick to it.
Okay. Right, so we want to give you some tips on how to avoid this inflation and ensure that we stick, because we can avoid it for a while, and after a while we just remember that some things have not been done, and then you just want to chip in, and then you continue on and on and on and on from there. And interestingly, I had ice cream yesterday, so just
So why did you have the ice cream?
because I didn't drink ice cream.
Okay, but before that time, you didn't see the need for
actually,
it. So you can see that's where you need to differentiate between your needs and your wants. Like I said earlier, however, I not say that at times you cannot avoid it.
Yeah.
This lifestyle inflation. So at times it is unavoidable. But then it is you that will determine whether you actually need to make that purchase. Of course, you can't be putting on an old dress for a very long time. A time will come, of course, as on-air personalities, you want to look good. That is a need for you at that point in time. But you have to be wise about it. Now, for the ice cream that you have gone to take, I will tell you here categorically that it was not a need, it was a want. So if you have been able to differentiate your need and your want, you will go for that ice cream.
Well, I get what you're trying to say, though.
Yes. Quickly, for what you just said, we've also had financial coaches, you know, advise and advocate that folks should also, take time out to give themselves a treat.
Yeah.
Good.
At least once a month, regardless of how much.
Maybe even once a week. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, again, another issue why we fall into this lifestyle inflation. Some say is lifestyle creep. Is sense of entitlement. I have worked so hard. I have gotten this increment. Oh boy, let me spoil myself. It's natural. But we are saying, fine, plan for it. And don't go excess. That's what we are saying. There's nothing wrong. Plan for it. Don't even do things long term.
Okay.
Yes, you will go to a Chinese restaurant if you have not been there before. That do something short term. Don't go and buy a new car immediately. Just do something that is short term. Enjoy yourself for that moment. I'm sure after that initial euphoria, when you and your spouse go back home, you sit down, you will now know that. Yeah, but if in that excitement, you now begin to use money for long-term thing, you buy a new car, you buy this, you buy that, at the end of the day, you discover that the increase you have gotten, you have even spent more than what has come in. And of course, it's going to affect the quality of your life in the future. Okay. That's the issue. So you just need to say, yes, I have worked so hard, this increase has come, but I'm going to use 75% of this increase for my retirement savings account so that the quality of my life will remain the same while I retire. Then 25% you can now use it to do short-term things, and all that.
Okay.
Yes.
Where would the role of a therapist, a financial therapist, come in this? Because there are those who have identified over time that they probably have this trait of overspending, that lifestyle inflation. They've tried every means possible to curb it, but they just can't help themselves, and they need external help. So where's the place of financial therapist in all of this?
Yes, generally, a financial therapist will not just look at one issue. They treat everything, integrated in total. Yes, but again, we've also seen here that you can also do that yourself. Yes, but you also need the advice of a financial planner, because we've seen cases where a financial planner tells his client, I say, yes, I've reviewed your financial position, and I've seen that there's enough money to go around for both of us. Because he's thinking of his fees he's going to collect.
Exactly.
Yes, you need a financial planner when you know that things are really bad for you.
Okay.
Yes, there are things you can no longer control. And like I said, if there are extreme cases, then you go and see a psychologist, a psychiatrist, as the case may be. But there are little things you can do. It's just a matter of your habits, your spending habits. Let's take for the rates, for example, now. You can have a instruction to your bank. As soon as these rates come, an automatic transfer to your retirement savings account, so that you don't even see the money when it gets. Because people have said money is a spirit. And I will collaborate that by a quote from Dr. DeMartini. He said, the people are complaining that materialism and spirituality does not merge. I mean, he told them it's a lie, they merge. That materialism or spiritualism without matter is expressionless, while spirit without matter is motionless. So you need a mission to do spirituality, and you need money to make you succeed in that area. So you just have to be who you are. Don't try to impress anybody. Don't meet up with the Joneses. Like I said, the Joneses, you don't know whether they are living on debts.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this segment for the want of time. You had already wrapped up the fact that living on debt is already detrimental, because you don't even know whether the persons you are trying to copy, they will have debt, and of course they wouldn't come up to say we are living in debt. So you are just copying and following trend and putting yourself in much problems that you should have avoided. That's what I got from.
What do you need a car for? To move from point A to point B. You are not what you drive.
Yeah.
As long as a Toyota Corolla car can take you from Festac to Ojodubega, why do you need a Land Cruiser again?
That those will tell you it's about branding, especially those who are seeking contracts and what have you.
If you watch the average millionaire or billionaire today in this world, they still live in the same neighborhood where they made their money. Go and check. Mark Zuckerberg. What do you call that richest investor? Warren Buffett. He still drives his whole car that he was driving. He still stays in the same neighborhood. There is a book I recommend to you guys. The Billionaire Next Door. You find out that they made their million where they are, and they still stayed in. Unlike me and you, we make small money, we leave first and we're going to let's.
All right, thank you so much, Fakura, for that personal
Thank
finance
you. Thank
segment.
you.
Well, we just finished talking with Chat Fakura on the personal finance segment, talking about how to avoid lifestyle inflations. It's a robust conversation there. Please do well to look up this, listen to it over and over again, because repetition, they say, is the key to a lasting impression. The show is almost coming to an end. We'll take a short break now. We'll go straight into a brief sports segment and social media buzz as we wrap up the show for the day and for the week. Stay with us.